Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about seizing the opportunity within the wealth transfer, the estate, and the trusts arenas that are going on right now. You may have been reading about this in the articles or magazines or hearing on it. There are several different things that are coming out in this perfect storm that are making it to where we want to push and urge you to be taking this time and this opportunity to push yourself beyond what you maybe have felt comfortable doing in the past. As it relates to wealth transfer, whether it's within a business, whether it's setting up an estate, having those discussions with your family and your friends, that your charities that you're looking through, right now is that perfect storm. And so we know it's hard. We understand that these are things that you don't want to be thinking about or talking about. But now, this year, this year before the election, before December, there is a lot going on and that we're going to be talking about here, that you should take this opportunity to seize that opportunity. And so thank you for joining us as we look to kind of explore all those different areas. So what we wanted to focus on this video is the why now. What is this urgency? What is this perfect storm that we're seeing that we want you to hear from us? And so, Jeff, if you could go through a little bit of those. So what are some of those why nows? Why do we feel this urgent, this that's going on right now?
Right. Thank you, John. Well, obviously, the elephant in the room is COVID-19. That's creating this feeling of my own mortality. What does that look like? Am I in a high-risk group? And what happens if I did contract COVID and pass away? And what would happen to my wealth? Do I have a will? Do I have a trust? Is everything going to transfer in a tax-efficient manner? Also, we are currently in a low tax environment. Back with tax reform back in 2017, that introduced some of the lowest tax rates on record. And we don't know what this next presidential election holds. But from what I can tell, if Mr. Biden is elected, income tax rates can soar. We're looking at possibly elimination of capital gains rates. So everything would be taxed at ordinary rates. We would be looking at the federal and estate gift tax rates increasing, as well as the elimination or reduction, I should say, of the lifetime exemptions from estate tax. Taxes can also increase through the elimination of the step-up in basis of assets. So when someone passes away, typically that asset value gets to be increased to match that date of death value. If that goes away, we're looking at large capital gains, possibly taxed at income rate, ordinary income rates. So very important to think about this topic as a means to transfer wealth in an efficient manner. Also, the federal deficit. Huge deficits are being racked up because of stimulus money. And the way to get that paid back typically is through increased taxation. Yep.
We see a lot of different things that are happening, this perfect storm. There's other ones that were there, like in general, things have a suppressed valuation right now. So stocks may be down, or the value of the business, or the value of your house. So there's those, and there's other smaller items. We're not asking you to think about every one of those items right now. What we're asking you to know is that there is this perfect storm. So now is the time. So give us a call. If you're ready, give us a call. If you're not ready, we understand, but still give us a call, because now is that time to be talking through this and to start that process. And so, Jeff, as you mentioned, there are all these things that are circulating around that are making it to be why is now important. And we're going to spend more time on each one of those in future videos. So don't worry if you didn't catch every one of those items. We're going to go into more detail. Don't worry, we're accountants. We like doing that detailed. Right now, we just want to get across to you the importance of understanding that right now there is so much urgency within this, and more than we typically push. We as accountants and advisors, we tend to just give the information, and we sit back and let people kind of think through it and stew on it, and we understand that these are difficult things to hear and to talk about. No one wants to talk about passing away. No one wants to bring up the idea of how do I transfer my business to my kids, or how do I transfer that wealth that I have they're not necessarily fun topics. It's not something you want to talk about Thanksgiving dinner. We understand that, but there is that urgency that we're trying to push you to hear from us, and is that there is enough things that are going on that are going to change, that they're going to sunset. So you talked about Biden being election. That's coming up here in November. You talked about these interest rates that are at an all-time low. You talked about the fact that these estate exemptions, they go away. So this is not just something that you can just sit back and think about, oh, well, I'll deal with it later. These are things that have to be dealt with now. And so hear from us that urgency to give us a call when we do that. And now would be kind of a good time to talk through what does that look like when you do give us a call. You're not alone in knowing that it's something that's kind of difficult to work through and to think through these. And so we wanted to take a minute here to kind of express what it looks like when you do make that step. And the first thing, Jeff, that when we talked about this morning, we were joking, what is the first thing that we say to everyone that calls us when it comes to this topic? And Jeff, what was your answer on that? Because I can't echo it enough.
Right, just basically don't make a quick decision. You don't have to be impulsive. Just take some time, think through things, have a clear mind. And overall, this doesn't have to be a complicated process.
Yeah, like you said, just don't make a quick decision. So hear the urgency to give us a call, but once you get that, let that relief come in that you started the process right there by making a call. And then that's where we're going to sit down and slow down a little bit and really do some assessments. So we're going to get the team assembled. We're not the only ones. We know we're the favorite of the various different advisors that are out there, certainly. But we're not the only ones that are part of the team. We could give you our normal disclaimer that says, we aren't estate planners. We're just the tax guys. And it's true that the team is important, that we're going to have the attorneys, we're going to have the financial advisors. They all have to weigh in. We're going to weigh in on the tax efficiencies, but there's more than just taxes. There's family dynamics that come in. There's valuations that are there that we recognize. It's an overall team approach, if you will. And so that first thing is to slow down. The next step, so the number two is we're going to get the team assembled. And then the third thing that we're going to do, and this takes a little bit of time to go through, is to assess where we're at. So if you are 40 in your growth generation stage, is going to be a different discussion than if you're 70, than if you're 90. And so we look through and we kind of assessed where are you at in the realm of the cycle of having this wealth. And then what have we done in the past? So we're going to take that opportunity to step back and say, we maybe did a will 15 years ago. Does it still apply? Do we need to refresh that, or do we need to just scrap it and start over again? What makes sense? And then the next step is, what are the desired outcomes that you're going to have? So we're going to list through all of those. And is it charity? Does that play into it? Is it going to all the grandkids? Is it going to something that's going to live on to perpetuity, or is it a one and done type things? And so setting up where we're at and where we want to go that's a crucial part, and that takes time. So hear the urgency that you have to start the process, but once it's started, take the time. And that's why we're talking that we want to get you thinking about it now, because it does take a little bit of time to work through that.
So basically what you're saying, there's just a plethora of choices, but use trusted advisors to really boil that down into some uncomplicated choices. Yeah,
and as I was going through that list, you may be thinking, "Whoa, that's way too much information. I don't even want to start." That's what we're here for. That's what your advisors are here for. And so that's where that team comes in, is that we're going to narrow it down just in discussions with you to find out what's the most important for you. Who is it that you want this to go to, and what is it that you want it to go to? So that's the key. And then that next one is to actually design the strategies. I wrote some things down here for the topics of some future webinars that we're going to be doing, but whether it's a unit trust or a grantor retained annuity trust, or maybe it's a slow drip CRUT. I probably lost you already, and I get that. And that's my point is, don't get bogged down in those details of what all the different scenarios. And that was just a few that I just listed off there. There are hundreds of different strategies, and there are a key few that we really focus on and we nail in on. But we're going to go through all those in later videos and at later times. What you need to hear is there are different strategies that we're going to put into place and that we're going to create and design that comes into that. So, and then the last one is to actually implement the strategies. So here we assess where we're at. then we determine what we want to do, and then the last one here is to implement those strategies. And so those take time, and that's why we want to stress again that urgency of coming in and giving us a call, because those take time to work through so that they're in place before the end of the year that we've got coming on here. So that may sound like a lot. We understand that you may hear from us that now is the time, but it then kind of just hits that spot where you're like, you know what, it's just too big and too daunting to even start. Many times in the past, we probably would have been okay with that. We probably would have said, you know what, it's as long as we're talking about it and it's moving in the right direction, we're okay. So now is that perfect storm that you're going to have to walk off the plank at some point. It is now. We need you to hear that you got to jump in. You got to give us a call to get this going and to move it forward, because if you don't, you are potentially missing the opportunity for some significant wealth transfer opportunities that are going on right now. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to a continued series on this, going into deeper dives into several of these different items. And in fact, if you are interested in hearing some more, click below and you'll be able to see some of those next videos as they come out. So thank you for joining us, and look forward to seeing you in future videos.